show coming from the RAC store. With this back in the Mac in the back flow. Let's go, chillin' with raccoons by the back door. Take calls so you can stake more. All I wanna do is making dough, right? But I found this crew and doing alright. We wreck, will bitch, ready to fight. So many raccoons ready for the boss life. I might fly high like a kite, right? But always ready for a shite for the right price. Raccoon supply has the right price. Giving you respect if it's likewise. So I'm buying all the mean guys with the clean heart. Read between lies, laser beam through lean eyes. Warrior with clean lies, trash mouth, mean smile, be wise. NFT wise, fuck with these guys. It's the RAC rap from the back lab. 100 NFTs in my backpack. Crazy RAC rap from the stash app. RAC will take a lead in this haystack. It's the RAC rap from the back lab.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you find yourself in this beautiful world. It's morning over here in Asia, and I'm absolutely privileged and blessed today, guys. We've pulled it off. There was a time I didn't think we would be able to do this, but respect where respect due to the guys that have got involved, that said they would jump on, take part in this, hopefully, first of many NFT Roundtable. So guys, before we go any further, I would just like to say hello to my dear co-host. I do know he's busy driving home. Yawpster, are you there, brother?
Hey, Robo, what's going on?
Oh, wait a moment. We've got speakers on here. What's going on?
Okay, good. For some reason, I'm connected to a speaker, not a headset. There we go, Yawpster. Let's get the problems done early doors. Can you hear me now? Okay, yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, I can hear you fine. Can you hear me?
Perfect, brother. Perfect. Yawpster, thank you very much, my dude, for volunteering to do this. Right.
Of course. Anything for the RAC pack.
So, guys, just to let you guys know, myself and Yawpster, basically, and hopefully Shrute, with a bit of luck, we're just here, guys, to kind of moderate. And saying that, I would like to introduce the guests. So, guys, we've got like kind of 6 people involved. And we said, if we get like 3 or 4 or 5 or even 6 of the 6 people, it will be fantastic. So I would like to welcome everyone. So I'll quickly introduce everyone, then we'll say hello. So first of all, we've got obviously our dev from Raccoon. We've got Mol. We've got Sunnyside Reapers here, guys. We've got Pepe at Tradooors. We've got AJ from Skellies here. And we've got Jacob from Sky Monks. I think it's a great eclectic mix of people to have on our spaces. And it's basically, what is it about? What's the format? Well, it's chewing the industry fat. Myself personally, I've become really, really engaged in NFTs recently. I think we all have. I've realized, these things have got true potential. Do I know enough? Certainly not. So hopefully today, Yawpster and I, we can get these guys talking. I haven't given them any, we haven't given them any topics, guys. I would say probably around about an hour. If we can wrap it up maybe on about an hour, I think that will be good for everybody. And guys, the word round table, what does that mean to me? This is open discussion, open debate. Don't feel like you have to put your hand up. If you want to come in and interject, feel free to do that. We're all adults. We're all grown-ups. We've been in this spaces game for a long time, yeah? I'm hoping, that you guys are going to agree on things, maybe disagree on others. I think that's what we all want to hear is just, bare bones. Sorry, AJ, but I'll use this one. But, bare bones of honesty is kind of what we're looking for. So good evening, Mol. I'm sure it's good evening to you there, brother.
Hey, Robo. How's it going? Yeah, it's evening. It's like 8 p.m. right now. How's it going?
Not so bad, mate. I'm really excited. I was up at like 10 to 7 this morning, like a kid on Christmas Day or something.
Did you wake up earlier than usual? Sometimes we just speak and it's like 4 a.m. your place. So I don't know if you only had like 0 hours of sleep.
Oh, bro. I mean, I had about 4 or 5 hours or something, but I'm as fresh as a daisy. I can't wait for this, man. We've already had a pre-show Discord call, But yeah, Molly, I really appreciate it, and I can't wait to hear your opinions. Yeah, Sunnyside, hello, brother. Thanks for joining us.
Hey man, how's it going? On my end, at least, I feel like I have an easy thing to bring up that's been heated lately. So happy to talk about that too.
Brilliant. I can't wait for it all, guys. Literally, the floor is open to you guys, I'm excited, yeah. And saying that, Pepe, hello, brother.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody.
How you doing, man? You cool?
Yeah, just finished up the fiat grind, and yeah, I got some project updates. We had some big news this week, and I've got a little bit of an update since then, so I'll get into it later.
Cool. Well, that's a good idea, guys. Actually, like anything like a project update, we can slip in, in the last sort of like 5-10 minutes, no problem. You guys kind of know why you're here, for like the main issues of the day. But I was thinking about that, and if there's any like particular updates, I know EG, I saw you guys with your stuff the other day, the spaceships, etc. So yeah, we'll drop those in at the end for sure, 100%. And saying that, EG, welcome. It's a privilege to have EG on the show, mind at last.
What's up? Good evening to all the stateside people. Yeah, it's good to be here. Good to finally get on here, and I'm happy that we found a time that worked pretty well for everybody. I think Zerker has a family thing he's doing, so I don't think he'll be joining us, but if he does, that would be awesome. So looking forward to it. So yeah, whenever ready to hop into it, I think Bonzi's got a topic he wants to discuss. So yeah, let's rock it.
Brilliant.
I'm gonna stay out of this one because I know what it is, and I'm not on Stargaze, so y'all have fun.
Diplomatic.
Dude, I love what you released too, Pete. Like I was just looking at it. The UI is so nice. I haven't messed with it too much, but congrats on all of that. But Bonzi, we'll hand the mic to you.
Okay, I'll ask Robo real quick. Do you have anything you wanted to start with first, before I throw it in that direction?
Well, I did want to just say hello to Jacob because he did disconnect and then he's reconnected. So I'll just say a good day to him. Hi, Jacob.
Hey, what's up, Robo? How you been?
Welcome, buddy. Yeah, I'm really pleased to speak to you again, yeah?
Yeah, glad to be here again. I'm looking forward to see what this space will get.
Well, guys, what we're going to do to start off, right, we can throw like a few topics on the table, yeah? Just some of the stuff that kind of like came up recently. We do want to talk about how are we going to get new eyeballs on Cosmos IBC NFTs, right? That's concerning a few people. We want to talk about the 5 stars listing fee that some people think should be a delisting fee. Really intrigued to hear your opinion. Do you know NFTs? We also quickly want to touch on them if we can. Will they ever be a thing? Stars. Should stars stick to what they're good at? All right. Should stars not be looking at creating, AMMs or whatever it is, whatever, DAO tooling, etc. Should stars stick to doing what they're good at? Game of NFTs. Are you guys going to be taking part? Is anyone involved? Programmable NFTs was a topic that was raised. Things like royalties being set at the NFT level rather than the creator level, etc. And the new prop that's gone up on Commonwealth regarding NFT Switch. What you guys think about this? Is this like sidestepping royalties or? So yeah, there's a few things up, but I'll tell you what, I mean, we might as well kick off because guys, I got the feeling there that there's a bit of a hot topic in the room. Is that right? Shall we throw something out straight away? Sunnyside?
Yeah. So this week, in the past few days, I put through 2 props that I put up, and the first one, I don't think there's been a backlash on, which is the collection cost is now 3,000 stars. The second one that has been the biggest topic in the Stargaze main Discord right now is that to list an NFT, it now costs 5 stars. When we have done some of the earlier polling, it's actually surprisingly mostly people in favor of 1 star, followed by 5 star, followed by 0 stars. But here's kind of the thought process of why we did the 5 stars. One, it's easier to scale things back down if you're wrong, rather than trying to scale them back up. Two, there hasn't been a ton of interest in governance to begin with. When we put it to 5, I kind of knew that 5 would have backlash, not as much as that there was, but I knew it would happen. So it was kind of to help highlight the issue with governance being on Commonwealth alone. A lot of people have definitely, and probably rightfully so, criticized me on that. But you can't get people involved if there's no like event that happens to get them involved. And there's a lot of like smaller details that are hard to define that can be positive from a 5-star listing fee, but that one I'll leave open to other people to decide. Traders for any feedback.
No, I didn't want to interrupt you. I just want to I have a interesting take on kind of Stargaze and governance. Since I'm not huge in the Stargaze like community as like a creator or anything, I will say like 99% of my net worth in Stargaze is basically in NFTs or in liquid tokens I'm using to buy and sell NFTs. So I kind of have no stake in governance, like at least on-chain governance. I can like make my opinion known in Discords and things like that. But I think that's probably common for a lot of people where they have a lot of their net worth on Stargaze tied up in like assets that don't actually count towards governance.
Oh, for the actual like voting, right?
Right, exactly. But for that exact reason, I think that governance on Stargaze is in an interesting position of, it's like, I maybe have an opinion on governance, but I can't express it on chain. Like I can just make a lot of noise in a Discord or on Commonwealth.
Right. And, I think comparing Stargaze to Juno, I think, probably has one of the most involved communities now regarding governance, whereas Stargaze, for the most part, I think they've done the Lunar funding and the Levana proposal, and that one got backlash. But because it's like less often, people far and wide just don't know that there's things to vote on. I think that was a major issue because usually things were just universally liked. And then the first time when the Levana proposal went through, huge backlash, few changes made, but clearly not enough. Going through this time again, more big changes made to make things like, hey, we'll announce big changes that affect the user on Twitter. We'll try to highlight it more in Discord. We, did a forum. So it's trying to help like push that change forward and just kind of get people more aware of what's going on with governance. Because realistically, I could have put up, anything and it probably just would have passed. Just because no one knew what it is. And partially just because I think people would recognize my name. And if I word something in a way, it probably could get voted through if the validators see that no one's complaining on Commonwealth.
AJ, any thoughts there, brother?
Unpopular opinion. Yeah, I got thoughts on it. First off, I agree. You can always scale down. So there's nothing wrong with a 5-star fee. And if 5 stars ended your life in the last 48 hours, I don't really know what to tell you. But if you were somebody who, instead of started screaming and started having suggestions for a solution, you are the people that can actually make a change. So the people that went around complaining, it was quickly to see from someone who has a standpoint as a founder, you can quickly see who the people are that just absolutely like to just like whine and throw everything out. If we knew the backlash was coming, no one would have done 5 stars. But quickly Stargaze responded with, we know you guys are not happy with things. We will see how we can adjust it. But be real. Right now, the current price of stars is nothing. It's like 10 cents, 15 cents. by the time it's changed to 1 star or percentage of a scale of the collection or D-list fee or whatever we come up with, I don't even think the next way we do it might be the for sure way. I don't even know if the 3rd or 4th time Stargaze does it is going to be the for sure way. But I don't think that screaming all over Twitter and screaming all over Discord does anything for anybody. So for those of you who came to Stargaze and to the team with solutions, thank you. Like, because the way some of you put it into perspective was, it was like, oh my gosh, like that's actually super, like you just didn't look at it from all sides, because not everyone sees everything the same way. So there's not a right or wrong answer. I was more for 5 stars to start getting everything under control from the bots, and that you can scale backwards. And at the time I was like, what's 10 to 15 cents to see what we can do? And guess what? What is the positive of everything? I guarantee now more of you will pay attention to governance. I can guarantee you. So the positive out of this whole situation is now people know there's a channel in the Stargaze Discord where you can go over there and you can talk within the Discord. A lot of people didn't even know that. And then from there, how do you vote? I think that is that's something that we could fix, because just to vote, it's like you got to click here, go there, create an account, go here, go there. I think that needs to be fixed. That needs to be something that is a lot, just as easy as staking your token. Like when you click stake, select amount, and you hit submit. Like that simple. Just to vote on governance, that is an issue, because the more times a user has to click, the less they're going to vote. And then when something gets passed, because not as many people participated, some people will get upset. So I don't see this being the end of the world. I don't see this being terrible for stars. I actually am happy, because on the positive side of things is that now people are going to pay attention to governance a lot more. So whether or not you guys think your 5 stars ended your life for the last 72 hours or whatever it was, I'm so sorry that happened. But Stargaze is listening. And if you guys have suggestions, please come to the Discord and don't just start going crazy. Just give suggestions. And I think that's how Stargaze moves forward. I think that's how they do more. I think that's how they do better. But that's my opinion. I don't sell hundreds of NFTs, so that's kind of another thing you got to take into consideration.
Fair play, AJ. Some very bold statements, and I do appreciate it. Jacob, I do know you guys, you minted on stars, right? Because I was going to say Mall, along with Pepe, is obviously non-stars project. Jacob, have you got any input?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can now, Jacob. Yeah.
Yeah. So for us, we do have a collection on Stargaze Sky Month. I would say for me, it's kind of like I'm in the middle. I do believe 5 stars is not a lot, but if we leave it at 5 stars, maybe in the future, when stars maybe go higher, it's gonna be a problem. But everything can be amended to governance. So I don't think we should have that much of backlash, because anything that happened can be changed in the future. So yeah, and the thing that Space Kelly mentioned was everybody who came up and asked advice and like, I don't know, contribute to the network instead of just yelling and all that. That was good. and one thing that is funny, that since Sonny mentioned, due to that prop, now we do have a lot of more people involved in Stargaze and want to talk and like want to get involved in the governance, which is good in his own way. So I think nothing bad really came out of this prop, just kind of like bring more awareness to Stargaze and get like more people involved.
Yeah, that was one of the takeaways from what AJ said there, was he's like, people are going to give a shit from here on in, yeah? Mo is kind of like, I don't want to frame it as, you're being a bit of a, like, stars outsider, but I will kind of, like, look at it from that angle, Mo. Have you got anything to add from, like, a different dimension, Mo? Look, like, from the outside looking in?
Yeah, basically from trading myself NFTs on Stargaze, I don't see any issues regarding this, but I was wondering what was the actual reason to not use a percentage of your NFT value, listing price, let's say, instead of using 5 stars? Because I saw people complaining because if there's
Wait, is it me? I can't hear Moltres.
Yeah,
No, we can
Jacob,
hear
you
him
might need
fine.
to back out and rejoin if you can't hear him.
All right, so I'm backing out and come back.
But yeah, or did you have anything else you wanted to add, Moltres? Otherwise, I can answer that.
No, but yeah, basically the other thing I was gonna ask is like the main reason, was it because of bots? Because it's most of the feedback that I saw was related to bots. But yeah, that's mostly what I wanted to comment.
Okay. So I'll answer the first part of the question first. Why 5 stars instead of a percentage fee? So putting up anything that goes through governance, anything that can be put into the parameters is a very quick change. The parameters right now is a flat fee. So you can put 1 star, you can put 2 star, and you can only do it on the listing side. You can't do it on the delisting side. That doesn't mean we can't do it. It just means it can't be approved within 3 days of being on chain and take effect. So the sole reason was just to get it out there and put it at a flat fee, because anything else would have required the contract to be, I think it's called depreciated, and have a new contract uploaded, which is a much bigger task to undertake. For the second part of why, the primary reason is the bots. When a new user comes, and a lot of people say, well, Hubble's an external tool, why do we care? It's still a core part of the experience. It doesn't matter who made it if most of the users, to some extent, or a good portion of the users, use it. So before, there was never a point to have Hubble tools up. I can see the same bad kids and the same cosmic 8-ball listed for 200,000 stars every 30 seconds. One account alone relisted an NFT 20,000 times in 6 or 7 months. So primary reason was to reduce bots. There's a lot of other reasons that I actually like about it as well. Some of them are debatable, some of them are not. For one, it does burn more, right? It does burn more stars, and it gives more back to stakers. 2, it makes people more carefully select the prices of their NFTs when they list them. When that happens, I think price discovery for collections happens quicker. You see less people, myself included, who price it high and then scale it down by like 100 stars every 2 minutes if it doesn't sell. That can hurt like perception of projects. To add a minor scale if somebody notices. But when people price them more accurately, you might actually see an increased trading volume when things are priced right from the start. 3, one of the things that I would like to hope see is that very low priced NFTs, like SSR, for example, where we only sell them for 50 or 60 stars. What ends up happening, or I would like to think would happen in time, people no longer price NFTs below 50 stars, because now the risk to put them that low becomes kind of not worth it. So it might passively over time kind of increase the universal floor rate for some of these lower priced NFTs, just because people don't view the risk as high, and it can kind of support cheaper collections or newer creators. That's not a guarantee, but it's one of the things where, you know, why would you list for something for 25 stars? And then you just kind of start seeing things sell at a slightly better price. And then I guess I feel like I had more things to add to that, but right there.
That's all right. Because guys, while we're on the stars thing, before we move on, has anybody got any clarifying points, any further, anything you want to add to Sunnyside there? Because there is something that's kind of pressing with the community a little bit, and it is about this kind of like app chain thesis. And what we're seeing with Osmosis and the name service, what we're seeing with Stars going to move into being a DEX. Are we going to create a DEX or an AMA? Is that right? Sorry, AMM. Is that right?
Yeah,
Stars
that's
are diversifying, right? So there's a lot of people saying, like, isn't the upchain thesis, like, aren't these guys kind of like totally kind of segueing from that, or should they be doing things, or should they stick in the lane? I'm actually going to let's go to Mol first. Again, as a bit of an outsider, Mol, what do you think? Should stars be sticking to what they're good at, Mol, and trying to grow that model, or should they be diversifying?
I think it's a very good question because when you think about it, like for sure, when you go on stars, you're going to trade NFTs, and when you go on Osmosis, you want to trade like tokens or coins. But the thing is, it's kind of hard to answer this question because when you see like how one blockchain, like you want to do everything that's going to happen on this blockchain, whereas when you're onto Cosmos, like if you want to trade a token and then trade an NFT, go back, trade your token and stuff like that, you basically have to do like some intermediary steps, which are like the IBC transfers. So is this some kind of hassle when it comes to people want to trade their tokens and trade their NFTs? Like what would be like the benefit of doing it on one chain, whereas doing it on different chains where you have more transfer to actually do? I don't know, man. I feel it's hard to answer. I feel like at some point when IBC is going to be seamless, like you don't even feel that you're on different chains, then I think it's going to be pretty great. Whereas if you can have everything on one chain that works perfectly well, then I think that would be great. I don't think I answered the questions there, but my opinion is...
No, it's fine.
Yeah, I just feel like if you have everything at one place, it's pretty great. But like at the end of the day, it's pretty hard to have one chain to have all the great products. Like right now on Cosmos, you have very great product on different chain, but you have to do like more transfers, let's say. But yeah, I'm a bit divided on this question.
Correct. Perfect, dude. And you know something? That's why I'll defer at this point to EJ. Simply for the fact is, I noticed that this week the Skellies got the NFT staking that these guys have built out like a front end for, I believe. And I'm just wondering, from EJ's perspective, is he looking at, Stargaze, doing the name services and doing this and this, but there's no NFT staking, and the guys have had to create themselves, a little bit like what we did with our DAO in the early days. EJ, you want to come in here, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been too up to date on the deck side of things, but I did speak with Stargaze for a very long call, and we talked about a little bit about how are we going to onboard new users, and that's one thing they brought up was having a more accessible way and not having to have people go to multiple places just to get stars. And that was kind of an open-ended thing they said, because at the same time, you still have to go through quite the process just to get stars, no matter whether you're doing it through Cato or Osmosis or however you're on-ramping anything. But that led into, I've spoken with, I don't want to put anyone under the bus, so I won't say anyone, but the name service, like, I'm going to try to say this respectfully. Why was so much resources put into the name service? And why was so much time put into the name service when we don't have enough liquidity on Stargaze to really make it worthwhile? And why is there not more devs being used on the front end of the UI, fixing this website, fixing the wallet? And this is this whole roundtable is to take the sugar off and just get to it. And this is what we deal with.
Correct.
And so for me as a founder, I had to go hire a full stack dev team, and that is not cheap. We hired a full stack dev team to build out our whole staking dApp because I just got tired of waiting. And I've had multiple conversations with people that the resources, and I keep getting the roundabout answer like, we know the website needs it. We know the website needs updates. Like, okay, if you know it, then why are you not putting resources all to the website? Because guess what? The website is the most important thing for a user. If a new user, think about this, goes through the whole hassle, think about the first time you got stars, the whole hassle to get stars. They come to Stargaze, they buy their first NFT if they can get the website to load, if they can get it to load, and they buy it. and then guess what? It shows up not in their wallet. How do you think that looks? And just for me, you know, as I sit here I have a team that I've joked about it, but if you let my team work on the back end and the front end, we could help fix it. But there's so much like gates to go over, and I don't want to ever rub anybody wrong.
Just to play devil's advocate here a little bit, we did have Shane on last week, right? And what he did say was the entire month of January, it's everybody, all hands on deck. It's purely about performance. He did admit that he does know that it needs work on, and we have had this conversation, several of us, right? The name service, we mentioned this, right? And apparently they've been working on it for over 2 years. A lot of the code was written a long time ago, so maybe that's just been something that's been on the back burner. And I am only playing like devil's advocate because of that conversation last week, yeah? I think Pepe might want to come in with AJ.
Yeah. I'm going to just say, so, I mean, I actually really like the idea of the name service being something that's settled, you know, via stars. I think it makes sense to sell it via stars and have it like truly be an IBC. And I know Jake wrote a really long thread on this, but yeah, I think it makes sense as like an NFT platform from them to be kind of the I guess, main source of that. I will also say, hey, at least Stars is still working on things, like coming from a different perspective. I mean, I'm in a place where no work has been done, no improvements have been done in a little while. So, you know, trust me when I say the struggle could be real. It could be a lot worse. You know, I've been working really, really hard to like push like the NFT scene on Juno. Like we brought over the dev behind Apello, which I know a lot of you guys are now using on Stargaze as well. And you know, he came over, he did a few bots for us. You know, like I paid him like literally out of my own personal wallet, so like no project funds. I paid him just like personal money that I had in crypto because he was just helping us out on the side, kind of a side gig contract. And I just gave him the inspiration. I just said like, you know, you're doing a really good job, and I think you could really build this to be more of a brand, like put a name on it, and like, you know, let's offer this to other people, and like let's knock down some walls that are here on the Juno NFT scene, and like let's get this going so that there's, you know, a little bit like less barrier between somebody who wants to launch, you know, and getting to where they want to be. So he's gone and he's like really run with it. I'm really proud of him, but like, you know, like if that wasn't happening, like I'm telling you, and like not to shit on Juno right now, it would be just absolutely fucking wretched to be a Juno NFT project right now. There's like so little like infrastructure, there's so little volume, there's so little attention on it, and like Loop and Talus and I mean Hopper's, like nobody's making any push right now on the NFT scene on Juno, and it's really brutal. So like at least Stargaze is trying. And then the last thing I'll say about it is like, I don't know about the DEX, and this is just an idea I just came up with right now. I think a cooler functionality would be, I think they should build a function where you could, in like one click, IBC transfer, and then it would like swap to stars and complete purchases for you. For example, like let's say like you don't have enough stars and you want to buy an NFT, and it says like, hey, you have like, let's say the NFT is 500 stars and you only have 200, but it like is able to look in your wallet and it says like, hey, you have Atom, you have, you know, Juno, you have whatever. And if you were able to just like check a box and say, I want to use my 200 stars and I want to use my one Atom, and I want to be able to buy that. And it basically IBC transferred, swapped on the back end, and seamlessly bought that NFT in stars for you, so that the person who sold it, they received stars. The whole thing happened in the back end. And again, like just creating a seamless product like that using the IBC technology. And I don't even know how technically possible that is. That's just me shooting off the hip right now.
Well, guys, I'm actually getting some comments, right, about the AMM that's planned on Stargaze, right? Somebody said that the part of the reason they want to do it is so that you can like list things in different currencies.
Yep.
But there's already NFT platforms that are doing that, EJ, right?
Yeah,
like
that's one thing that's one thing when we talked, they did mention they're going to be able to do is Not quite sure how it's all going to work front end and back end, but you will be able to list in different currencies. And I believe the payout is in stars. So I think you can list in different currency, but the payout on the back end is in stars. I could be wrong, but I think that is definitely something that might be unique. And yeah, others do it, but I think it's just accessibility.
Sunnyside AJ, you might have some inside track on this. I don't know.
For the AMM, I'm actually less involved or haven't kept up with it too much on that end. So I don't really have anything secret or like any insights I can give on that one, unfortunately.
I got a question.
Right.
The way
Hey, Tradooors, or Peep, when you come into Stargaze, after saying Juno ain't building, when you come into Stargaze.
Well, it's not. I'm not trying to shit on Juno. It's not Juno itself.
I'm
it's
just messing, man.
Particular protocols on Juno are just like not focused on delivering things. And like again, like we all know who I'm talking about, and I'm not going to try and shit on anybody like by name here, but we all know who I'm talking about. For example, I had to after Apello built its leaderboard for like total volume tracking and sales tracking feed, I really got after them in a private chat, and I really opened up, and let loose on them a little bit. And I said the bare minimum you can do right now is just hyperlink to this external third party and treat Apello's page like Hubble Tools, and just hyperlink. And if you're not going to build it yourself, this dude did it in a week's time by himself with a one-man team completely unfunded. At least make that connection. It's the bare minimum. Drive traffic to him. He's done you a huge service. So I'm not trying to shit on Juno. I love Juno. I'm shitting on the kind of lack of progress by certain individuals within, the area.
Well, Pepe, that's absolutely perfect. And you know why? Because one of the topics for the day, right, that we discussed on Discord earlier was what is it going to take for NFTs to take off on Juno? And let's look at the positive side of things, right? Yeah, we know there's issues, etc., etc. But for Juno to become a place to be seen as where you can go for, cool blue chips, which there are none of, I think, at the moment. What is that going to take? Let's go to Mol here. Mol, what do you think it's going to take for NFTs to take off on Juno?
Real quick, that one hurt, Robo.
Oh, dude, which one? Which one hurt? Which one hurt?
You just
chips.
looked me dead in the face and said, "There's no such thing as a blue chip on Juno." That was a dagger straight to the heart.
You know I'm rugging. I'm rugging for the culture, dude.
I'm fucking with you. No, I mean, hey, you know me. I'm always one that says I deserve. I don't earn. I have to earn it to deserve it, right? So our floor price does not justify calling us blue chip right now. Hopefully, we get there.
Do you know what's really weird, right? Is that when you look at Juno and you look at the DAO tooling, shout out Jake there. If you look at the DAO tooling, it's we've got the tooling to be able to have the NFTs be on Juno, but we just haven't got this NFT culture that's been built around Stargaze, Mol, very quickly, Mol, what is it going to take for NFTs to take off on Juno, in your opinion?
I think you said it a bit there, and what the other guys said too. I mean, if you have a very cool NFT marketplace, and then you have the tooling to actually understand what's happening on the marketplace, it's gonna take off. Plus, you need nice NFTs, but it takes some time, man. I mean, if you're gonna open an NFT marketplace, you need some projects to start building on Juno, and then people it's gonna gain some traction and stuff like that. But the very cool thing that people needs to actually understand is that on Juno, given your permissionless, Pepe did with the Tradooors, is they launched their app and it's working and that's it. You don't have to wait for anyone to actually make it happen. You just make it and it's going to work because you're not waiting on anyone else. But yeah, to answer the question, I feel like a very great marketplace and more projects actually trying to build there. Because, if everything is on Stargaze and then you have volume on NFTs on Stargaze, people are not going to go on an NFT marketplace that has 2,000 volume per day. It's nonsense. So, I mean, it takes time and that's it. So.
Mol, very quickly then, is Hopers the answer to the NFT marketplace on Juno? Yes or no? Very quickly, is Hopers the answer? Yes or no?
Nah, I don't think so.
Okay, fair play.
Yeah, I think we need something. I don't know. I feel like Loop is pretty cool because, like, I think it was EJ that mentioned this earlier. But like, everything is about the website. Like, if the website is working well and the website looks clean, it's like it's easy to use. That's it. Because people, at the end of the day, like, for sure that your NFT is on a chain, is on a blockchain and stuff like that. But if it's not fun to use and it's not seamless, people are not going to use it.
There you go, devs. Project leads, take notice. The front end is incredibly important. So we'll go to Jacob, and then I know Pepe had his hand up. So Jacob, yeah?
No, I would say, I don't know if you guys know, the NFT staking functionality, NFT DAO, I mean, on Juno, it's not live yet. So, and I know that they're working on it, and it should be live. Based on the Discord, they say next week. So I feel like that should bring some interesting news to the Juno ecosystem in a sense. And also, I know Stargaze is planning to do an outpost on Juno. So there's some stuff to look ahead. It just now, Juno didn't have any good tooling for NFT, but it's coming. We just need like more people to get involved in that scene, like create more quality projects. Because even in the Cosmos ecosystem, I won't say there's like a lot of quality NFT projects. In it, there's some, in Sol there's some. But also the community need to grow. And now the community in Cosmos for NFT is not the best. But I feel like over time, it's going to get there. We just need, like, as a founder, like trader, everybody's here. Why not just to keep building the trust between the community, and the trust founder will be able to do good thing in the space. But Juno, I think Juno would be great in the long term. It's just a matter of tooling to come alive.
Perfect, young man. Pepe?
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, I think it's gonna, I think there's a few things that needs to happen on Juno. I think, and I don't know exactly who's gonna do it, but I think we need to see one project that shows up, mints out, and has a really solid floor price. Just because I think right now, like from my engagement with the Juno community, and I hate to speak in like broad generalities, but like just something I've noticed as a trend is because we haven't had like that first initial success. There's a major like barrier for a lot of like sidelined kind of Juno holders and participants, right? So they like don't see a positive ROI on NFTs, and so they're not willing to even like take the risk. They're already they're already staked, or they don't have anything liquid, that they aren't willing to make that leap yet, and so somehow somebody has to deliver whatever recipe needs to happen. And I clearly don't have the answer, or else I would have, done it. But yeah, once we get that like kind of magical first piece there, then hopefully that barrier will be broken. And like coming from the Terra NFT scene, it really was broken with like Galactic Punks and the Luna Bulls. And then when those saw like 10-time floor prices, all of a sudden all the people who were like, just DeFi maxis were like rocking profile pictures, and they were all of a sudden like, oh, you can make gains here as well. And that really kicked off, in my opinion, a transition to like the growth of the Terra NFT scene. So we just need to see, some sort of initial project that's really going to bring the returns, to people. And like not that those of us who are there haven't already tried that. So I'm not sure what the exact recipe is going to be.
Jacob, you had your hand up there, did you?
And also keep in mind, we're in a bear market, so people are less likely to buy NFT too. So in the bull market, you could literally sell peak NFT, fit NFT, and become rich. But also, I don't know if you guys know, there's also a project on Juno called Complay, and I think they're building NFT tooling too. So there's other project building NFT tooling. I'll say it's a matter of time.
Yeah, they're building a whole framework, which is going to be really cool and important.
Yeah. And keep in mind, Jake is here. I don't know if Jake left, but DAO is they are launching the NFT DAO base soon. So that will be a feature of Juno. So if you're NFT on Juno, you'll be able to use that to go from your project.
I get a lot of feedback that Talus is pretty like awesome to use, you know, from a UXI perspective, right? UX, sorry. What about you guys? Have you guys been sniffing around Talus at all? Do you think that's got a future, maybe?
We are listed on Talus, personally. I like the guys. I think they're really, you know, I think they have a good product. They are very helpful. I mean, they are an old Terra NFT platform, and like again, we're gloves off right now. So on Terra, they were the worst NFT platform, and I absolutely hated them. Their UI was really terrible. It was clunky. It was cluttered. The color scheme and everything was really hard to like look at for extended periods of time. I think they took a lot of that feedback really like gracefully, and they've worked really hard to like turn that around and deliver a better V2 of the product. So, you know, absolutely like hats off to them for coming around and working on all that.
Well, guys, it's a perfect time, and I you know, stop me if we segue too much. But talking about Stargaze and then moving into Juno would kind of bring us to talk about this multi-chain aspect of things. Obviously, the Game and Nodes prop has just passed. I think it was 94, right? We've had extensive discussions on the show. We've had Shane on. We've had Arc Protocol. We really drilled down into like everything, you know, especially the air quotes public incentivized testnet. I would just like to know, guys, now it's passed, now it's, you know, in play, etc. They made some announcements. We do realize it's more like validator focused and dev focused. Anybody taking part? Any of you guys want to jump in here? Anybody going to take part in the testnet?
I will
I
not
can.
be.
Yeah, I would say same here. So I have no comment on that.
Interesting. And all of you been looking at this or not?
To be honest, I didn't take the time to actually dig a bit deeper about this, so I don't have many comments about this.
Interesting. Wow. Shrute, what do you think about that? We've got a room full of devs here or project leads or whatever, and nobody seems to give a shit about Game of NFTs, Shrute.
Well, I think that just
By the way, welcome.
Goes to show you where all the money's going to go for it. So,
I mean, I would love to know the opinion on the guys. And NFT Switch, yeah, we'll bring you in, dude, when we get time. I'd actually like to know the opinion of if anybody can jump up, Sunnyside, AJ, Pepe, Jacob, Mole, whoever. You know, this was advertised as a public incentivized testnet. And we do obviously realize I've got to like battle test the code and stuff, you know, but the like Shrute likes to say, the verbiage was probably not the best, you know. Like, guys, you need to be, you know, either a validator or a dev to take part. Do you think the prop should have been advertised as it was, or do you think it should have been a bit more specific about who exactly was going to be incentivized?
I guess from my own personal take is that I honestly haven't even looked into it that much in general. I don't see any issues with funding like those incentivized testnets. If I remember right, it's essentially for developers to like try to find bugs in the code. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. I actually like funding proposals like that far and wide. Main reason I never took an interest is our project, you know, if it has a wide scale market effect about cross-chain NFTs, I care about it because it has an effect on the wide scale market, but our project will never probably aim to use any of that technology. So, you know, that's just kind of where my off to the side stance comes from.
Sunnyside, very quickly then on that point, how do you feel about the fact that it's the hub, the Cosmos Atom hub, that's funding it, but there's no benefit because there's no CosmOsm enabled, there's no XNFT module? Do you think that was right? I mean, listen, guys, when we spoke to Shane, I got the distinct impression, right, that like he understands that like the hub shouldn't be paying for it, but obviously, you know, Stargaze is going to save like, you know, a bit of funding here, right? Like, do we feel like these 4 chains that are in the test, do we feel like they should have funded it? Is it right that the hub has done this, Sunnyside?
You know, so I'm gonna give my own selfish opinion. I'm part of Stargaze. I don't really hold that much Atom. I'm all in favor of the hub, you know, proposing something that's to benefit me. That's my selfish take. In terms of should it actually have been funded by the hub? I think, it's very debatable. Everything that it helps write is under Atom, so it does passively help Atom. Depending on the chains that get affected the most, like I would not expect Juno to fund it. I would not it just wouldn't work. But like Stargaze, the community fund pool, I think is at all-time highs. We rarely use it. So I wouldn't have seen an issue with them having to take part. I don't know about Secret or maybe Omniflix or the other chains, but that's just my quick take at it.
To play devil's advocate, let's find out from AJ or any of the other guys, right? To play devil's advocate, these cross-chain NFTs, AJ, is it a nothing burger, do you think? Or is it actually going to be like the next step, the next evolution?
In regards to cross-chain, I think it's most of these devs that are built, well, not most, but the devs that are building this specific the product, everything, they're from Terra. So the reason one of the main reasons they're building this is because how everything has happened. So if tomorrow Stargaze, coincidentally, the website doesn't load, I don't know, and the whole chain goes down, network goes down, will we be into a situation where we're left homeless again? And I think once these can be done on Cosmos, and then we can go to different blockchains, Polygon or wherever we're headed, this will be important because I think the best way for NFTs to become invaluable, like to the point where you can't put a tag on anything, is that they have to be, accessibility has to be at an all-time high. You have to be able to move it where you want it, when you want, and do what you want with it. But I don't know how that actually all will play together. I don't think anyone does, but I think it's the right step to start trying to figure out a way to not just have one NFT collection locked on a specific marketplace or a specific network. I think it's going to be something that will be tested by many others. And when someone does it right, it will be, I feel, a very, very big game changer when it's done right. But that's just my 2 cents on that.
Perfect, young man. Pepe?
Yeah, so I think from my perspective, I think one of the most powerful pieces of all of this for founders, teams, and communities is actually going to be multi-chain minting. And especially like multi-chain minting, where you don't have to like predefine where your liquidity is coming from.
You mean like mint DAO, Pepe? You mean like that mint DAO a little bit? Is that where you can like select which chain you want to mint on, right?
Yeah, not quite. So I mean, with mint DAO, I'm pretty sure you're actually saying like I'm minting entirely on Juno, and you could use that one platform to mint on like multiple chains, but you have to designate that your contract is going to live on like Juno, for example, or Terra or whatever, right? What I mean to say is, and I'll give an example here. So back on Terra days, there was a project called Hero NFT. It was also Do Kwon's profile picture for a long time. They were a cross-chain project, like kind of first of its kind. They minted on Sol and Terra, but what they did was they basically predefined that the Sol project got 50%, or the Sol half got 50%, and the Terra half got 50%, right? So they basically just created 2 contracts between the two, and like they just minted, and it was just more of a branding thing. What I'm talking about is it can be truly powerful if, for example, like let's say I list and I have free floating ability to mint between Stargaze and Juno and Omniflix. So it's not about, I predefined 30% of my collection goes to Juno. Juno is not showing up with liquidity, and now the Stargaze people, they need to either like migrate to Juno to like mint out that portion if there's extra demand there, or else it just like it ends because nobody will go to Juno, or vice versa, right? I'm talking about like truly allowing multi-chain minting, where a collection can just say, I have 1,000 pieces. And if 500 of them get taken on Juno, and 300 get taken on Stargaze, and 100 get taken on Omniflix, and I think that was bad math on my part, but you get the point. Then so be it. Like that'll be truly the most powerful piece of this whole like equation.
But aren't people going to go where the liquidity is? So like if all of a sudden, we did have this world where we could bring our NFTs anywhere, and someone brings a Bored Ape to Stargaze, like you're not going to fetch the same price on Stargaze that you would on OpenSea. Like you just won't, especially now.
Yeah, sure, but like take me for example, right? Like we launched an app on Juno, right? So if I was to have been able to multi-chain mint, I could have, for example, introduced my concept, my project to the Stargaze community by having like this ability to mint and go in, like attract liquidity, attract users from that user base. And then because it was multi-chain minted, they could have bridged to Juno to use our app in the end, like once we launched. But like in terms of finding liquidity to fund your project from a founder's perspective, like in that initial mint stage, I think that's really powerful.
But I guess my counter to that would be then why? Well, I know the reason why, because Juno's permissionless. But like, why wouldn't you just launch on Stargaze if that's, you know what I mean? If that's where the majority of the liquidity would come from, I guess is my question. I think this problem gets fully solved when what you're talking about is a seamless thing, and you just own an NFT, and it doesn't matter where it is. It's in your, like it's in the billfold section of your wallet. It's not in the credit card slot or the driver's license slot or wherever. I think when an NFT just exists in your wallet, that's the seamless experience of doing what you're saying. Like that doesn't exist yet, and I think I feel like we have a ways to get there. I'm sure some people would argue that that we're not, but
well, did you get a chance to test out that ARC protocol mint on testnet? I think it was maybe a month or two ago, because you were able to basically test net, mint, and Juno, Osmosis, Terra, and I think maybe Stars. I can't remember for sure. But yeah, you were able to basically just mint, and you didn't need to there was no predefined number that would show up on any particular chain, and wherever the demand. So in the end, they published how many people used, Stargaze testnet versus Juno testnet, right? But they didn't have to predefine any of that.
Yeah, and I do want to add to that. Mr. T he's actually on Space Skellies team, and kind of just a guy that's on the back end. And when you do those collections, you have to lock them. So if you want to have a collection, which you probably know this, but if you want your collection on Stargaze and you want to move it to Juno, you have to lock the whole collection to move it to Juno, which I think the end all be all would be if you had an NFT, you could go, I don't know if this would ever happen. I think this is kind of what that you were saying is an NFT that's just in your dashboard, and you can choose where it's listed. And I don't know how that would happen, but I think when there's a way to do that, that would be pretty phenomenal. But yeah, with the ARC protocol, you do have to lock a whole collection to move it to XYZ, wherever you choose to.
Yeah, and I think
is that because sorry, Shrute, weren't we talking earlier? Is this because it's the NFTs are programmable at the collection level, right? So at the moment, you don't in the future. Apparently, I hear on some of the spaces them talking about programmable NFTs, where you can control royalties instead of from a collection level, an individual level. We were chatting about this earlier, Shrute, right? Isn't that kind of
and I think we kind of see that a little bit today with the Pixel Wizards, right? That NFT is going out and hitting an API and telling you the price of stars or Bitcoin or whatever, which I think is the first step towards us being able to use NFTs in a somewhat programmatical, I guess, style.
I want to chime in on that. And so I'm going to assume that, let's just say everything is seamless and you could list like that. Just from launching on so many chains as our own project, I mean, we would do that every single time if it was a seamless process and it didn't make for any technical errors on the back end user side. I know that part's far away, but I mean, perception is everything. If you can have, even if it's just 5 more people who are native to say, Juno instead of Stargaze, why wouldn't we list the NFT multi-chain? I know I said earlier that we wouldn't be multi-chain. There's profile avatars. They don't matter as much if they're multi-chain. The game pieces do, but just from a project's creators, if we could do that in a seamless fashion, I would love that.
Yeah, I mean, but that presents like additional problems, right? Because at the end of the day, everyone has that dream of selling their NFT to secure the bag, right? And so the next layer on that is like, how do I aggregate all of these different chains to be able to report to me, like, where can I arb, or where can I, buy it lower and go sell it higher, or things like that. So like, that's even, I think, further away, like trying to aggregate. I mean, hell, like we have we complain about analytics on, the layer ones that have NFTs not having enough data to, like whether we have to go to Hubble, or, we have to go to info.stargaze, or, some of the OpenSea analytics. So like, imagine trying to do that, on every chain that the NFTs exist on, right? So I think that just presents another layer of, craziness.
So,
and I think what they're doing,
that was a problem. I would say that's an opportunity. I would look at that more as an opportunity for people to innovate and deliver solutions. Sure.
And just speaking on that, one of the things that I would like if I could do it multi-chain, and say we could denominate the amount of stars on the chain, and on Juno we can say a different price. I actually really like this. We can give different prices for our own NFTs. We know we don't have as much support on one chain, and we kind of want to make our presence bigger there. Maybe there's a 20% discount on Juno or Tori or wherever we launch. I don't think it applies to most people where they'd want to do that, but it's something that I personally would be really interested in.
Go ahead, Mol. Mol, you want to speak there?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, like, when we listened to the Game of NFTs thing, I think it was on a space at some point. But what they were saying is basically, if you want to send an NFT, let's say it's like its home is Stargaze, and you want to send it on Juno, and then after that you want to send it, let's say if it's was going to work on Secret, you cannot do it that way. You basically have to send it from Stargaze Juno, and then Juno Stargaze, and Stargaze to Secret. So it's not working as like an IBC asset or a native asset. Let's say if you want to send Atom to different chain, it's going to work. Whereas if you want to do it with NFTs, with the Game of NFTs project, it's still a hassle because you have to send it to one chain, send it back, and then send it after. So
correct.
I think we're very, very far to actually what we're discussing right now. Like you have your NFT and you can send it wherever you want. We're pretty far from that. So.
Mol, didn't they describe it as like an anchor? So whichever chain that you minted on will always be the anchor chain. And like you say, if you send it like the Stargaze, for example, and you want to go to Secret, you have to go like sort of back by the originating chain. There's always like a permanent anchor there, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because how it works, like maybe it's different than my thinking and the last time I looked at it, but how it's going to work is you have your NFT, you send it into like some sort of contract. It's going to lock it in the main chain. And then when you send it to the other chain, it's like another contract, but that's going to represent your NFT on the main chain. So it's, when you think about it, it's not like the perfect way to do it. I think there could be some improvement there. I have no idea how to make it, like to improve it, but I think we're far from having something seamless.
And just to go back to the point, so I know this is mostly like, I feel like Terra is always the redheaded stepchild of the cosmos, but that TFM, they have aggregated the marketplaces on Terra really well in like a seamless way. So I think that's like, those guys have been pretty innovative in how they, present the NFTs. You can sort by price, and if one's on Random Earth for 130 and then one's on, Nowhere, RIP, pour one out for our homies at Nowhere. It was a great platform. Is 130, like it can sort it and all that stuff. And then when you click to buy it, it does the transaction through whatever marketplace it was listed on. I just think of the complexity that's going to be, required to do that, like for, from Cosmos to, maybe something in the future like EVM or whatever the case may be. So, but TFM is a pretty dope tool if you guys are Terra NFT people, or if just to kind of check it out in general.
So, Shrute, we're going to throw a bit of a segue in here.
I'm very conscious and aware of like people's time, yeah. And we do have NFT Switch in the audience, guys. There's just been a prop put up on Commonwealth for NFT Switch. Now, I only found out about this not long before I came on the call, and someone suggested, is this just a way to sidestep royalty fees? Now, the one thing I just wanted to quickly ask you guys, the entire room, guys, we'll make this like kind of like last topic, yeah? How important are royalty fees to use with you guys as projects? We'll start with Mol, if that's okay. So we'll go Mol, Sunnyside, Pepe, EJ, Jacob, right? How important are royalty fees to you guys as projects, right? And how do you feel about the kind of being like these maybe swapping sites or whatever created to kind of sidestep the royalties? Mol?
Yeah, I think that's a rough question, because if you were to compare a collection that has a lot of exchange, let's say you have like a 2 to 10 million volume, I think the royalty are going to be very important. Whereas, for example, if we take a raccoon as an NFT collection, for example, I think we have close to 200,000 in trades. So it's a small amount of money. Half of it goes to our artists, and the rest goes into the platform. So it's like a nice to have money to for like the improvement, the small improvement that comes and go. But I feel like if it's a big collection that you have a lot of volume, I think royalty could be very important to like improve and add new stuff. So it's hard to say depending on how big the volume is, I'd say.
Interesting.
So from my standpoint, and I keep it blunt, and I know this is going to be fairly unpopular. These kind of like third-party platforms to like trade, I do think that they're just going to be there one way or another. I don't personally care about a royalty step back in this manner. The reason being is that no matter how big the platform gets, it's going to be probably used in less than 0.5% of all trades. I feel like that's being generous. Just because it requires extra steps, it requires two users to get to one another. The people that will use it the most are generally on high trade or like high value NFTs. Generally, the projects that would be affected by the most of this are kind of already king of the castle. If they lose out on a few of these trades, it's fairly whatever, to be honest, in terms of how much they take in. Royalties as a whole, for SSR, every Stargaze collection ever has always been put in a separate account from royalties and staked and compounded since we've started, and our NFTs have sold between, I think it's over 2,000 or 3,000 sales on Stargaze, and we're cheaply priced, right? But that royalty plus interest to date is worth roughly $865. It is nothing. Royalties for us so far generate no value. That said, royalties are very important to me long term. I don't want them to be sidestepped easily. So I'm kind of arguing for both sides of this one, but that's my take on it.
Pepe?
Yeah, so I mean, my opinion on it is, if royalties didn't matter, then we wouldn't have them there. And like, to be totally honest with you, like we've also made nothing on royalties. I mean, like, I think with our sales volume and our 5% royalty, I think I maybe have had $100 and a few dollars in royalties. So I mean, it's not been like some significant game changer. But I mean, if they didn't matter, then I think people wouldn't have them. And also, there's a couple other things here. It's easy to say they don't matter in the middle of a bear market when they're really, really small. But I think, if you stick through the bear market and you come out into the bull market and, all of a sudden you're missing that like kind of revenue, that's kind of, that's kind of there. It's an incentive to really build your brand. It's there to incentivize your team, your artist, and all the different functionality of whatever you're trying to build. So if you get rid of that, then the incentive to keep putting in the hours. I mean, like right now, I just got off my fiat job. I've been sitting here now for an hour and 15 minutes. Like this is part of that brand building. This is part of that, like that continued effort to show up for the community and to show up to build the scene. And if you took away, and like I said, like I've literally not made any of this like myself, like this is all just sitting in the wallet, just like with Sunnyside. But if you take that all away, it really disincentivizes projects to keep showing up and to keep doing that. And the second point I'll make on it is I know like I'm a larger collection and I haven't really experienced this from like a smaller collection, but I saw like Maria down there earlier. She has a small collection with really high priced pieces. And I would expect in a situation for her, like those royalties mean a lot, right? Like if she sells one piece for 20 or 30,000 stars or whatever it's going to be, like losing that 5%, that probably really hurts for her. So, I don't want to speak for her too much on that, but like I would expect that there's a whole spectrum of what that kind of like falls on. So I really love the innovation of all of it, and I'm totally encouraged that, but I wonder if there's not a way to compromise where like maybe teams could like whitelist their collection to be on NFT Switch, and they could put like a compromise royalty. Like let's say straight up secondary market sales is 5%, and they whitelist and they say like, hey, if you want to do NFT Switch, it's only like a 3% royalty. And like it comes back still, it's like a reduction. It still encourages innovation, but it's also still, rewarding to especially small creators.
I get where you're coming from there, and that was actually a big thought of mine, Pepe, was that like take Raccoons for example. Our revenue, what we're concerned with, is the gambling or gaming platform, whereas like someone like Maria, it's purely the art-based project. I think there is a big differential between the two. Those pure artistic projects versus like the kind of dev projects like you, EJ, etc. Sunnyside, 1 second, for a bit of a contrast. I thought EJ might want to come in on the back of Pepe simply because of the volume Skellies have done recently. EJ, what about you? I mean, no doubt royalties have been coming in quite regularly. Is that helping with development? Do you want to add anything to what the guys have said?
Yeah, so I do want to be crystal clear that NFT Switch is part of our validator. So NFT Switch is part of the Skellies, Rebels, and Squad validator. So a lot of these fees would go as an incentive to the validator. So that's a standpoint from, I just want to be, that's one reason they are coming over, because we're partnering with them to start bringing them over. As far as like, I don't think people see, no, they don't. Some of these whales on Stargaze, they'll come to you and they want 50 NFTs, and they want to give you stars, and they want to give you a mixture of NFTs, and they want to give you different cryptocurrencies all at once. And it gets pretty crazy. As far as when these large scale transactions happen, I would say I'm involved with 80 to 90% of these large scale transactions. There's no runaround. People have to use me as a middleman. In NFT Switch and any other service like this, it will be available. But with like Pegasus, you can't offer stars, and you can't offer, there's not much, I would say, options of what you can do with it. It's very limited. So as someone with royalty fees, you're only getting what, 5? Our royalties are 5%. The amount of NFTs we have to sell to really make a big difference is significantly different. Like it's significantly high on stars. I mean, you have to be doing hundreds of thousands to millions of stars to make it a huge difference. So that, like, I have a biased standpoint because I know the founder, I know JG, they're great people. So I don't have a negative input. Could things be tweaked and changed after we listen to community's feedback? Absolutely. Like, that's the best thing about community. When you sometimes step away and you just listen, can things be changed? Absolutely. But I think it's a service that's going to exist one way or another. And a lot of these whales, I want to say it again, they're not making $500 transactions. They're making $5,000 to $10,000 transactions in one hash. So just like keep that in mind when you're doing this and you're thinking about it. And yeah, things can change. Like if you guys have advice or input, like positive input, ways to maybe make it better, like let us know. We'd be more than happy to listen. And maybe you're right. Maybe you have a great point. But yeah, I see Jacob's hands up. What's up, man?
Yeah. So what is Swiss trying to build? Because I know like there's already one in Stargaze, Pegasus, right?
Yeah, but it can't do what NFT Switch does. So you can offer different NFTs plus currency for, let's say I want to buy, I don't know, I want to buy Sunnyside and I want to buy some SSRs and I want to give someone some Skellies plus stars or whatever I want to do. You can do that all within one transaction. Now, is there a way to have reserve addresses and do this and that on Stargaze? Absolutely. Absolutely. But this is a way to go around that. And once again, here's what happens anyways. These don't happen on chain anyways. People do not put 50. I just had a transaction the other day that a whale came to me. He wanted 45 Skellies. He does not do it on the marketplace. He doesn't go to the marketplace to make these transactions. He doesn't go to other buyers and do it on the marketplace anyways. He just does peer-to-peer trading. And this is when you could do, there's a lot of different things that go into it. And this is I always look at it for large scale investors. That's how I look at the service. Can others use it? Absolutely. But when I look at it from the amount of large scale transactions that I've been a part of, just as a third person, I'm the middle wallet they transfer them to. This is something that the system could be better in some way or another. And like I said, this is a start. Could things be different, better? Absolutely.
EJ, something, I was escrowing RACs from day one. And I did actually contact Mol and I said, look, Mol, is this okay with you guys? We're talking guys like one raccoon, $2.5 grand, USD value. Yeah. Trades between a couple of people. And I think I did about 4 or 5, right at the beginning, just after the mint out, when, people started looking at who had what ranks, etc., and what styles. And Mol was absolutely fine with it. He gave us a complete blessing. He'll tell you, people in the Discord swapping and trading and doing stuff from day one, Mol, right? You've actively encouraged Mol, haven't you, the RAC community to trade amongst themselves?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a good thing too, because like you just said, if you want to trade let's say a 10 Atom and 100 Juno and 2-3 other NFTs for these NFTs, it's going to be so much easier. But at the end of the day, I'd rather see people trade the NFT and see that people are enjoying themselves by trading NFTs than just stopping them from actually doing it. People want to enjoy the NFTs, just let them do it. That's for sure. At some point, if you're losing, let's say, 50 grand a year in royalties, that could be an issue because you cannot improve following a 50 grand a year. But I don't know, man. It's just my opinion. I feel like if people finds a way to actually enjoy the NFTs, just do it. That's how I see it.
Well, a prime example is my co-host Yawpster. He had a one that I needed for my trilogy. So I've got 3 raccoons, all of the same style, right? Pure gangsters. But he knew I wanted that one, yeah. And I was able to do a trade where I give him a biker gang rack, but I also put 100, I think it was 100 secret on top, or $100 in raccoon it might have been. But I put him $100 on top, I had to kind of leverage something in addition to the rack to get what I wanted. That's what the community are looking for, guys. It's not just about a peer-to-peer or whatever, or we need to be saying, well, I can give you this NFT plus 100, whatever it is. Yeah, Pepe?
Yeah, look, I think there's a lot of different sides to this. I think, like you just said, that's a really cool way to do swaps internally. And to Mo's point, I think, everybody should be able to enjoy theirs. I think it's also important to understand too, like back on Terra before, when people were doing these like swaps like this, there was a lot of scamming and stuff that was going on. So like NFT switch can be an important part of kind of reducing the burden on the core team of a project to make sure that there's no like major scams happening that are hurting their community. Now, the other side of this, like, I don't know if any of you have kind of followed like SudoSwap, which was an Ether like pooling protocol where people were like basically pooling ETH and NFTs, and people could like freely swap in and out. And none of those got royalties back to the project. It was actually just like a fee that went to the people who created the pool. And there was a lot of outrage about that because, I mean, you know, that was a lot of really big money for some projects. And so again, like I think there's like a difference in perspective here where you know, we might be small right now, but we don't aspire to stay small in volume forever, right? Like the idea of growing this Cosmos ecosystem and growing the NFT scene here is that we would see higher volumes and see it matter eventually, right? Like I don't think any of us are up here with the aspiration of like only ever doing like a couple $1,000s in secondary sales, or never seeing like major floor price pumps for our holders. So like thinking longevity wise, we also do need to, we shouldn't just like put off this topic until certain people have seen success and also seen major losses as a result of, you know, these innovative protocols existing. So I think it's an interesting, you know, topic for sure. And I wonder if there's not like, you know, like for example, let's take the Stargaze, like the listing fee. So like maybe collections can whitelist and put a listing fee. Like if you're going to swap one of my NFTs, I need 100 stars, you know, or whatever it is, right? Like or some, I don't, you know, maybe 100 stars is dramatic, but like something, right? Like if you're going to use my NFT in one of these switch protocols, like here's my kind of demand for that. Sunnyside, let's hear it.
Okay. First thing I wanted to touch on that you had mentioned originally, Pepe, was Maria. And sorry to spotlight again, but no, I kind of forgot that the small one of one artists are the people that would get hit who it matter for. Another topic that
guys, I think we I think we lost Sunnyside.
He just came back. I just re-added him.
Yeah.
I thought my internet went down.
I was
gosh.
for it to go super fast.
I was like about to back out and everything.
Dude, I was shitting myself in case we got rugged. I was like, please don't do this to me.
He just hit the heart button, and I thought I'd like frozen my phone by hitting the heart button. And I was like, no, I wanted to hear this.
No,
I'm like, Elon.
I'm sorry, my Twitter just randomly closed. So this part I do want to mention. So Pegasus, they could have put this feature in. They decided not to, specifically because of like what's this conversation right now. So I do want to mention that. And for the actual idea of like implementations, you know, one of the things I know is that a lot of the core kind of squad community is inherently against this. And, you know, I've talked to both them and JG about it, and it puts me kind of in the middle of it, where I don't, you know, it's sort of problematic. But one of the things that I would want to say is the idea of, you know, blacklisting or whitelisting contracts at that creator's decision, or just an overall kind of like request where that could be done would be awesome. I don't know if that technically is feasible. However, the other aspect that I would kind of like, and I brought up before, is that any interaction where it's one NFT for solely currency, I think if the royalty could just remain intact on that transaction alone, and anything that's multiple, that could avoid the royalty. I think that cuts out a lot of the, you know, saying it is so, but it probably cuts out 90% of those royalty-free transactions. You can game it, yes, but every time you add a single step to something, you see a massive fall off in the amount of people that adapt that strategy. So just some thoughts and, kind of full disclosure on what Pegasus had built and why they didn't choose to go away with that way.
Well, absolutely. Yeah, perfect timing, isn't it? Guys, I'm well aware that we're like hitting the 90-minute mark. I don't know about you guys, but I would like say it today has just been like a roaring success. Exactly what I'd hoped and dreamed about and planned about the last few weeks. Kind of like, guys, pretty much off the cuff, I didn't send the guys any topics or anything like that. We RAC FM will never like send like interview questions or anything. That's not what we're about, But we did, today we talked about new eyeballs, how it's going to happen. We talked about stars, the 5 stars listing fee, NFTs, will it happen or not? Should stars focus on NFTs? Should they stay in their lane? Gamer NFTs, even though that conversation was short. An NFT switch. Now, I'm a bit devastated NFT switch left. There are, guys, some people in the audience, and I do know that like a couple of you had a couple of project updates. Does anybody have any
switch
questions?
is here right now. They just joined again.
Yeah,
they did.
I invited them.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, I mean, it's not something I want to get like stuck on, guys, because I am very conscious about time. I mean, I don't know how you guys are doing individually for time. I'm always very conscious. Mol will tell you that from day one, Mol. I've always been conscious of people's time, right? Especially our devs. I like them working me. Jake, B Barnes, does anyone, Squid, does anybody want to come up and have a question? I've got a question. Just make a request, guys. If anybody wants to come up and address any of the issues that's been spoken about today, if you want to speak to a particular personality about a particular thing that they've said, anyone? No? Okay, right. Well, we've got some updates, haven't we, Pepe? Was it you that just wanted to get some updates in quickly at the end?
Well, yeah, no, I mean, I'm going to, while we're having the conversation here, I got a little bit of an embarrassing story to tell. And it was captured live on Crypto Tank, and he was down there earlier, so I was going to kind of direct this at him specifically. It was captured live on his live stream, which is like uber embarrassing for me. So I'm like red in my face as I'm about to say this, but that's perfect because I'm on Team Red, anyways. So we launched our app yesterday, which Mo, thank you for pointing that out. And it got off to a bit of a rocky start. Honestly, everything was going really, really well until I woke up this morning and heard that Tank had tried to live stream use our app, and it didn't work for him on the live stream, and people were like trying to problem solve it for him, and he was not able to get it to work.
Down horrendous. We call that down horrendous.
Yeah, and I woke up, I watched the live stream, and I was down horrendous. It was I felt like shit. Like I was like, what the fuck? So I got on the call with the dev team, and I went to town. We were like, what's going on? It turns out.
Did you see it? Did you see Don Kryptonium's video on Wind the other day? And like Wind got stuck on the transaction for about 25 seconds, and Don's like,
right,
what the fuck are you doing to me here?
Yeah, that's exactly how it felt for me. Exactly. So here's the deal. The game is currently not functioning, and the reason for that is when we were doing our testnet tests, and this is going to be really silly. I'm sorry for this, guys. When we were doing the testnet test, we had put a really short time frame in there for like how long the game contract should run, and we were running a bunch of tests, and I was grinding out like a lot of different tests on the testnet to find different bugs and try and get everything in order. And then when we went to kind of deploy the contract on mainnet, we had switched that function. But my dev, and this is me just being dumb, honestly, my dev wrote like a silly name, like I can't remember what it was for what the contract should be called. And I like sent back to him, I was like, dude, no, this needs to say traders. Like for branding purposes and other things, like I want people to know that that's our contract that they called, like when they look on MintScan or whatever, right? So he like rolled back, he like went to change the name, but when he changed the name and redeployed, he grabbed the version of the contract before we had changed the timestamp to go up to a week. So it was still on the quick time frame. So that was the only change that was made between the last two versions. So he deployed so he changed the name and deployed the version that had the short testnet time frame when he deployed. So when I started the game yesterday and I was telling everybody like this is a 1 week game, like it was back on testnet like 1 day time frames. So the game lasted 24 hours. It shut down. I wasn't expecting it. Nobody was expecting it because it wasn't what I was communicating to anybody. So yeah, so that's my embarrassing story for the day where
You're all right, bro.
mint scan to show traders for branding purposes like caused this issue. My bad, Tank. I'm super sorry to embarrass you on live stream like that. I'm super embarrassed. But yeah, we're gonna roll out a bunch of changes. I took a lot of feedback from the community on that first round, and we're gonna try and roll out some changes and get a new game going here with the right time frame.
So Jake, can't devs do something?
Dude, being a dev fucking sucks. The amount of times like it's always the moon like really fucking stupid. Just like, oh my god. So I feel for you traders. Like it happens.
Have you been enjoying the show, Jake? Have you been enjoying the show today?
This space was fucking awesome. Like amazing real talk. Like kudos to all you for like providing some like amazing real feedback and like just like yeah, this was an amazing spaces. So pat on the back, RAC FM. Everyone should follow them. I'd figured I'd like as someone who comes up or someone who knows a lot about interchain NFTs, I figured I'd like come up and like kind of like talk about that a little bit and maybe like answer some of people's questions because yeah, helped write some of the code and like review it. But I think one of the things that I'm really most excited about for interchain NFTs is like everyone's talking about like the ability to mint on different chains, and I kind of think this is cool, and I think people can like support this. But I think really the opportunity for a lot of projects is being able to list on any chain they want. So you might mint on Juno or Secret or some other chain for various reasons. For example, if you wanted to like customize your NFT contract somehow. Or use a DAO, but Stargaze is the place with the most liquidity. So like I'm personally really excited about the use case where like people mint on other chains, but then can like list wherever there's the most liquidity in the marketplace. And I think that's a real issue also with like NFT marketplaces on Juno is there's just like not a lot of eyeballs on them. And I actually feel like Talus has come a really long way, but there's like no like artist community there. It's like, and without an artist community and without like liquidity, I feel like things inevitably kind of lead to like sort of like hubs, like similarly with like osmosis and like normal tokens, like it's, sure there's like other really great dexes out there. I'm still super excited about Windex, but it's like, I think similar things will happen with NFTs. And like, I'm personally really excited for Stargaze Outposts because I think the advantage of being able to like mint on other chains means you might be able to like customize something about your contract or your game or whatever, but then you can like take advantage of all the liquidity that exists there on Stargaze. So but yeah, mostly I just want to come up and like maybe answer people's questions about interchain NFTs V1 and what it can and can't do if people have questions.
Jacob's in there with his hand up. Yeah, Jacob?
Yeah, Jake, how do you see the Stargaze Outpost coming to life? Do you think would it be just Stargaze to list or Juno or something like that? How do you imagine it?
The way I think it's gonna work is like you have a Stargaze Outpost contracts deployed on Juno, and you might mint your NFT on Juno, for example, like with a DAO, maybe Red DAO, like mint some like really great NFTs. Well, now we want to like list them for sale somewhere on the marketplace. And so the DAO just calls the Stargaze marketplace contract, tells that contract like how much it wants to list those NFTs for, and then those NFTs are listed on the Stargaze marketplace. And I really think it's like that simple. And to me, I think that's one of like I think the big opportunities for Stargaze is to keep up the the kind of lead in terms of like NFT liquidity and being able to take advantage of all the NFTs that are minting all over the cosmos. 'Cause it doesn't really matter where they come from, but like I think every artist, and correct me if I'm wrong, or if other people have like different thoughts. Like obviously I'm super biased here, but I think artists want to list in places with like the most liquidity, you know, like, and so really what the Outpost does is it just like, if you're on another chain that's not Stargaze, so say you minted your NFT on Terra or you minted your NFT on Juno, like then you can still like take advantage of all the liquidity and, you know, community that Stargaze has for like NFTs. So you can just like list your NFT on Stargaze as a DAO over the Outpost. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense. Just one last question. You know, I saw in the Discord that the NFT base will go live next week. I don't know if you can. Will you be able to elaborate more on that?
Yeah, so you'll be able to create a DAO where the voting power is determined by NFT ownership. So, for example, you might have, I don't know, traders. Maybe there's a traders DAO. I don't know what the traders DAO do, but in order to join traders DAO, you would have to have a traders NFT and you would have to stake it with the DAO. So that's kind of how it's going to work. And it's really pretty that simple. So it's like another form of token-based DAOs. So like currently we support like CW20 tokens and also like native tokens once Token Factory is live. So instead of staking like a CW20 or a native token, you just stake an NFT. And that's really kind of the idea around it. It's not too complicated. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. I just want to say you guys are doing a great thing in DAO. It's really amazing. I don't know if anybody's saying, but you guys are doing great. And I can't wait to see all the things that DAO will build because it's amazing. Even with the what's the payment contract you guys are building?
Oh, payroll contract. Payroll contract, bro.
Right?
Get those motherfuckers on the go. Pepe, got your hand up there, dude.
Yeah, a couple things. First of all, looking forward to NFTs, DAOs. Those are going to be really powerful for Juno. And I know, once that all gets squared away and in a future update of our game, we already built our own like kind of staking contract at this point, just because we're wanting to get moving with like a first iteration of our game. But in a future iteration of our game, I really see a high potential that there would be a traders NFT DAO, and that we would query that DAO to basically assign the ability to play the weekly game based on how many NFTs you had staked in that DAO. So I think that's hugely powerful. I do look forward to that. Just also from like giving, using something that's been built on Juno that's awesome, and also giving, our NFT community governance rights and all sorts of different functions beyond just being involved in the game. Because I will say that's one thing that's kind of challenging for us right now. We're using like Apello's Discord verification as a form of kind of off-chain governance, because once people are staking in our game, like they're kind of giving up the ability to use their NFT on-chain as governance, because it's handed over as part of the gameplay. So I think that's going to be super powerful.
Yeah, I'm really excited for what people are able to build with it. We have some really silly DAO games that are coming up for that. So that's going to be exciting. And yeah, I highly recommend actually you look at the DAO NFT staking contract. I think it's a really good base to like potentially build from as well. And the other great part is it like integrates seamlessly with DAO. So you can look into customizing that versus like trying to create your own staking contract, and it's also been audited. So
we already created our own staking contract, but doesn't mean we can't take a look at it.
I think you should take a look at it. I think it's worth taking a look at, and like I said, it gets you a lot of things out of the box, and even you can probably take whatever custom bits are part of your staking contract, like that are like relevant to your game or whatever, and then like add them to like a fork of the DAO staking contract. I think it's just worth a look. Do whatever you want to do.
Oh no, absolutely. I appreciate that.
We've got two the raccoon community have like got two prime to go. So we're going to have Winston DAO, which is going to be the charity arm of Raccoon, obviously. We're also going to do the honorary council. Mol, I think it's been decided that the honorary council has to go to Juno, brother, right? Is that correct?
Yep, I think that would be the best thing to actually make it happen. Plus, if we can use the DAO tooling, it's perfect.
Yes, and we are inducting 3 new members very shortly to bring the round number up to 10. And these 10 will be at the start to make decisions on certain things moving forward to extend the brand that is known as RAC. Right, guys, listen. I am very conscious of the time. I just want to see if anybody had any more questions. EJ, did you have anything for Jake?
Got nothing. Just sitting here listening. Got nothing. But I do appreciate you coming up.
Great conversation today, guys. Anybody else, Mol? Anybody got any more questions? I am determined to wrap it up like before the 2 hours. I just want to find out if anyone had any quick project updates. If anyone had any questions for Mr. Hartnell there before we wrap it up. Anyone?
Hey, on our next one, can we let's talk about the community pool and the liquidity and the mutable contracts on Stargaze. If we want to write these down, I'll put them in the chat.
Yes.
But I'll give one quick rundown. Space Skellies actually just hit top 50 validator. I was just notified. So we actually just became top 50 validator. Staking will be live soon. It's on testnet. Spaceships will be able to be burned very soon. I'm not going to tell you guys when. It's going to be more of a surprise. And then that's it. That's all I got.
EJ, from the community to you, to Saberstein, to B-Bands, and your back-end guys, whatever, I would just like to say congratulations, mind you. I'm absolutely buzzing to see your success, especially because, like, you guys did Bare Bones of Web3 on a Monday off your own back. It's proved out to be one of my favorite shows of the week. So personally, as a community member, not necessarily like a Skellies community member, like hardcore, whatever, I just want to thank you and your team for, what you do for the community at the bottom of the bear market, dude. Well done.
Thank you. It means a lot. And I know Bands and I think Saberstein were in here. So Bare Bones is, I'm just there to help them. And that's all to the ladies. And they've done an incredible job. So if you guys don't know what that is, it's on Monday mornings. If you guys want to just swing by our Discord, we can get you the links, or on our Twitter. We do post them up over the weekend. But yeah, stop by. I really appreciate those kind words. And I know they do as well. So thank you.
Imagine fading Skellies. I couldn't imagine the smell. Jacob, yeah?
Yeah, just like one update that I don't know if people know. We did launch a collection on Juno also. The name is Cosmic Skymark, and the goal, the collection is like, look, basically the first generated music PFP NFT on Juno, so that's pretty cool also. And why not, the secondary market just opened yesterday. So if anybody interested in getting some cool NFT PFP with cool music on them, so that's pretty cool too. So that's what we have one now, and also we here keep building Skymark. My vision, what last that it's more related to the nonprofit, and I would say as to our project Skymark, we're kind of like one of the handful project. We never sold anything from what we made from Genesis, so all that is staking and all that. So we're here building stuff. It's a tough market. We don't have like a full dev team, but I'm here and building. And thank you, RAC, Robo, for creating this and like getting this started. I'm excited. The market for a builder,
No problem, buddy. Mol, you've congratulations on getting everything back up and running. Anything you want to add, Mol, about the racks? You guys, Nixon, anything? Music NFTs?
Yeah, music NFTs gonna happen on Stargaze. We're still finalizing some stuff in the back end and the front end, so we don't have like nothing too amazing to tell you guys, except that we're working on in the back end. So it's not something cool to show, but it's work that needs to be done so we can scale much more than we're currently scaling. But next target is Stargaze. So we're gonna drop some info in a couple of weeks.
Hey, White, quiet room. Hey, Shrute, can you send me the information on the game of NFTs or whatever you were talking about earlier. Whenever you get a moment.
Did you catch that, Shrute?
He just decided to ignore me. He's like, "No, I'm not gonna send it to you." I got you. I'll just message you. We have our chat.
I think he's having mic problems, is he? Shrute? I think he's having connection problems. Yawpster, do you want to add anything, bro? You've been rather quiet there, dude. Yawpster, do you want to bring in any closing comments?
No, you guys just been doing great. Get into some real good dev stuff. Appreciate the combos we've had tonight. Guys, thanks for taking the time to be here.
All right, I think we're good. Oh no, I'm good. Bonzi, you haven't spoke, Bonzi.
Oh yeah, sorry, I was waiting for Robo to chime in.
Guys, I'm not going to lie. I just grabbed the McDonald's breakfast. I'm not going to lie to you guys. At the end of the show, I just grabbed a quick McDonald's breakfast, which is why I went quiet. Go on, Sunnyside, dude.
Okay, yeah. I'll keep it fairly short. So we actually have a working Android multiplayer version of our game. Very limitedly distributed right now. We have Wild Dev working on the wallet integration for our game, which is 80% done, which will be used in the final version of the game. I just completed our last payment for our game developers, and I added a new milestone. The game is actually extremely far along. Now we're on bug changes and then final wallet implementation. I'm still super hopeful for March 31st on the release date, but we'll always adjust as needed. But I think that's obtainable still. So that's an update from SSR and what we got going on.
Good man. Guys, you know something? I have to say this. Like Jake said earlier, this show's been absolutely fire. Just people coming up, right? Like chatting the right kind of shit that like the community wants to hear, you know? We get bored of these like bullshit calls where people just softball and, you know, can you introduce yourself and blah, blah, blah. Now we want to get down to the mustard, right? So guys, I don't know if anyone's got anything to say before we close out the show. I know he's been quiet because he has been busy, but I do want to thank Yawpster. He was going to just be there for some support if I needed it. Thanks to Shrute and especially the 5 people that have come in. I know Berserker was busy. Hopefully in 2 weeks we'll have him back. We've now got a fortnight to collect as much like, you know, NFT, shenanigan, gossip type stuff. Hopefully next time we can just try to improve the show a lot. But for me personally, and I'm sure the community, we have to thank Mol, Sunnyside, Pepe, EJ, and Jacob for coming up, and Jake obviously as well. It's been great, guys, but we'll end it out before the 2 hours kicks in. I humbly appreciate your time, guys, and hopefully I'll see you in 2 weeks, yeah? The RAC FM model entertain you guys once again, right? Lovely. I see the emojis. Right, guys, take care now. All the best to you and your projects and your teams, yeah? Wonderful. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Robo. Ciao.
It's the RAC show coming from the RAC store. With this back in the Mac in the back flow. Let's go, chillin' with raccoons by the back door. Take calls so you can stake more. All I wanna do is making dough, right? But I found this crew and doing alright. We RAC will bitch, ready to fight. So many raccoons ready for the boss life. I might fly high like a kite, right? But always ready for a shite for the right price. Raccoon supply has the right price. Giving you respect if it's likewise. So I'm buying all the mean guys with the clean heart. Read between lies, laser beam through lean eyes. Larry or with clean lies, trash mouth, mean smile, be wise. NFT wise, fuck with these guys. It's the RAC rap from the back lab. 100 NFTs in my backpack. Crazy RAC rap from the stash app. RAC will take a lead in this haystack. It's the RAC rap from the back lab. 100 NFTs in my backpack. Crazy RAC back from the stash app. RAC will take a lead in this haystack. Blast that RAC rap from the stash app. Supplying the raccoons with a headbang rap. RAC gang with the RAC will slang like a trash can. Hoodie with fangs and a gold chain. It's either RAC will or the red pill. Best chill while we get into the first meal. Best feel, best devs with the best skill. No shill, all real, secret is a great deal. RAC will insane, Shane better stand fast. Robo shooting his tweets with straight facts. Knowledge from the street, with the best plan yet. Winston gotta eat if you retweet that. Free of a live feed from the base camp. McKenna always ready if you dare that. Buying all raccoons for his rare stash. Trash panda biker gang motherfucking hashtag. It's the RAC lab from the back lab. 100 NFTs in my backpack. Crazy RAC lab from the stash app. RAC will take a lead in this haystack. It's the RAC lab from the back lab. 100 NFTs in my backpack. Crazy RAC back from the stash app. RAC will take a lead in this haystack.
TerraSpaces.